right. We are joined now by Liberty Associate Head Coach Derek Johnston. I butchered your name on Twitter earlier. I said Johnson. Sorry about that. How are you doing today, Coach?
Man, I'm doing great. How about you guys?
Doing good. Thank you so much for coming on and joining us. First off, tell us a little about yourself. I know you came to Liberty right before the 18-19 season, so really like this massive run of success is all you, right?
yeah. Talk to Coach McKay about that. No, man, what a run it's been. I am so blessed. Like we got here just before that season, and benefited from a lot of the hard work and sweat and tears of many of those that have come before us, staff and players. And I show up and it's like, oh man, go to the tournament. Like this is awesome. Let's do this every year. But man, it's been such an unbelievable run. My wife and I are both from Alabama originally. We bounced around the country, chasing the dream in college basketball. Came from Alabama Huntsville, worked for Lenny Acuff, who's now the head coach at Lipscomb. So those games are always weird for me, but have been so blessed along the way to work for and with some unbelievable people. And of course, like this spot has topped all of it.
Yeah. Wow. I want to ask you about your relationship with Lenny Acuff. Is he one of the like big mentors in your life?
Yeah, I wouldn't be here today if it weren't for Lenny Acuff. I played, well, use the term play pretty loosely. I was on the team. I played a little my last year. I left and that got better. So that's probably a telltale of how good I was. But that experience really made me want to coach. And, being able to play for him and how he saw the game and how he treated people and the guys I got to play with, that really made me want to coach. And was fortunate to be able to go back and work for him and learn even more. And he's an unbelievable coach, but even better person, and be able to see that, kind of on a daily basis, how he interacted with his family and all that was great for me to see.
Yeah. Hey, Coach, speaking of, when you got here and you guys got to go to the tournament, and we all like to look back and reminisce fondly on some of those, experiences in the tournament teams. A wise man once told me emotions are great passengers and terrible drivers. What was that emotion like for that 1920 team, steamrolled through the ASON and then, get to tournament time and COVID breaks out? We'll kind of go back and what was that time like for you guys?
Yeah. Well, you guys put me in a hard spot going behind Coach Rode. I mean, that's a hard follow, man. Yeah, it was, the 1920 season, you win so many games out of the gate. There's this expectation because of the year before. It's interesting. You talk about expectation or burden or something like that. That's not something we really thought of and operated with on a daily basis. But at the end of it, it's kind of like, whoa, like it almost felt like a little bit of a relief. We play that Sunday, and I guess the Wednesday, the world shuts down because of COVID. And you have such disappointment for those guys when we go in the locker room to tell them, hey, it's over. But if there's any solace, like the fact that their last college basketball game for those seniors got to be in the Vine Center with 10,000 people, with one of the most incredible environments I've ever been in, that was special. And to be able to go out on that for those guys, I'm really thankful.
Kind of a wild thought. This is funny because I was thinking about this today. Darius McGee would not be playing if it wasn't for that. He would not be at Liberty right now.
Right. Yeah.
So, we'll see how this season turns out, but it could end up being a heck of a trade-off down the road. Kind of just an interesting way to think about it. So, Coach, I got to nerd out on you now. So I know the easy answer with pack line is experience makes it better, and I totally understand that and buy into that. That makes a lot of sense. But you guys have gone from 139th in defensive efficiency to 34th. How does that happen in 1 year?
Yeah, this is going to be the most boring interview ever. The accumulation habits is really important. It really is. And that's why I think we've had a little bit of success, is we've had some really good players who are selfless. They're good dudes. They're about the team, and they're willing to put in the work to accumulate those habits when it's not easy. And I think we're seeing a little of the fruit of that tonight. Our coaches have done an unbelievable job, I think, trying to prepare our players game to game with the scouts, even though we're not going to reinvent the wheel every night. And we have good defensive players. Like we have some really, really good on ball defenders. We have some really heady defenders. I mean, people wouldn't describe Kyle Road as athletic, but man, he sees a play ahead, and he's can impact the game defensively. So I think that accumulation of habits for guys that are talented, like things seem to work out pretty well.
Yeah. And I have a similar question, but it's on the offensive side. The beginning of the year, out of conference games, those are in the rear view, but it seemed like with the team, like turnovers was an issue. And that seems like when conference play started, that really got cleaned up and, making maybe smarter decisions with the ball and just cleaning some of that up. Like, how did that come about? Like what made that switch kind of inevitably seem to come on during conference play? Like how did you guys go about that as a coaching staff?
Emphasize it. I mean, I wish I could
Yeah.
tell you we had a magical drill or this
Just happens.
idea that we're the best coaches ever. But we were aware that there are games that we had no chance of winning, or we're not going to win. Turn it over 20 times. Like that doesn't take a basketball genius to figure out. I think part of it is just the way we play. We trust our guys so much. We do. They're smart. They're cerebral. They're skilled. And the way we want to play is like for them to be great at what they're good at. So, man, we're going to loosen the reins, and we're going to hopefully put you in some spots and give you some concepts to hopefully highlight your talents. But we're going to trust you to make the decisions. And sometimes, it takes some getting used to each other, the lineups, stuff like that. But I think your guys have really owned like just playing simple. And we have enough on the floor. We talk about hitting singles all the time. If we just continue to hit singles, like we've got enough to get you. And that's been huge for us. Like we've talked a ton recently about just more opportunities than the other team. Like last weekend, we had, I think, 11 more opportunities than Stetson, 10 more than Gulf Coast. And like being able to take care of the ball and rebound it, you get 10 more opportunities, you're going to have a great chance to win.
It seems like, correct me if I'm wrong, it seems like the guards, especially Porter and McGee, have been a little more aggressive creating turnovers than previous Liberty teams. Is that just something that I think is bigger deal, or is that something you guys have emphasized maybe a little bit more?
I don't know, maybe a bit of emphasis. I think Darius's growth on the defensive end has been great, and man, he's so fun to coach. I mean, obviously he does the unbelievable things that everyone will talk about offensively, but his selflessness with all that is unique, and he's really committed to the defensive end, and he's grown. Like a lot of guys probably in his shoes, returning the player of the year and all that would just coast with it, but he's really committed to it. And Colin Porter, he's got a different level of maturity for a freshman. He's got a toughness to him. He can move his feet. He's heady. Those guys, I agree, they've kind of set the tone for us in the backcourt defensively. And we've been better because of that, because, those teams have kind of been playing on their heels a little bit rather than the defense playing on their heels.
Love that.
Got a question here from YouTube. Someone viewing says, football coaches have position groups or coordinator roles. Does the team of assistant coaches have similar roles?
Yeah, good question. I think it's from Chad there. Chad, I remember you called me a lurker on Twitter the other day, by the way.
Called out.
Yeah, we have some, break up. Like I'll look a little more on the offensive end. Coach Pierre and Coach Jones have looked a little more on the defensive end and done a great job prepping our team. Zach Farquhar helps them with that, with personnel. So, that allows us to kind of channel our time a little bit and focus a little more, rather than, you guys are probably in some situations where everyone's looking at everything and some things can fall through the cracks. So that ownership, I think, is really allowed for some guys to really take a deep dive in it. I know those guys have done an unbelievable job with our guys with individual defensive film And you've seen growth because of that. All those things you guys mentioned earlier.
Talk to us about Blake Preston and Shiloh Robinson and how good that duo has been. There was a stat our guy Matt Warner on the Liberty podcast said, I think it was yesterday, they're 1-2 in the ASON in field goal percentage. They're just ridiculously efficient. Talk to us about those two guys.
Yeah, they're good players, man, and they're unbelievable people. They both have a unique skill set. And a lot of people talk about, well, Shiloh was starting, then Blake starting that position, all that. I think the really cool thing to be able to watch with them was, or is, and we, Josh Rutledge, who's the vice president of our spiritual development, we're very fortunate. He spends a lot of time with our team. And he mentioned once that love is wanting for someone else what you want for yourself and not wanting for someone else what you don't want for yourself. And we get to see that every day with those guys, because like people would say they're competing for the same spot. Man, they're so for each other. And when Shiloh does great, Blake's the most excited. When Blake does great, Shiloh's the most excited. So honestly, I think that spurns some of that production on the court. When you know you have someone that has your back like that may play a similar position, it gives you a lot of trust. It gives you a lot of freedom to play with. And they've really highlighted their talents. They've been amazing on the offensive glass. They've been really good on the glass. I think they both have tremendous gravity around the rim. We've got some guys that can throw some roller lobs now, so they're able to finish those. I think they're both in a spot where they're really confident right now. That's great for us.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Colin Porter, I think he's just finished the 7th grade, and he is starting on, this outstanding basketball team. Don't tell him I said that. He's a great player. But are there any other freshmen that you see developing that maybe just, to the casual viewer, to the fan, that maybe we don't see it, that it's maybe not translating to us, but you see it, you see the development and the potential?
Yeah, I think all our freshmen have been tremendous. Obviously he's probably seen more minutes recently. Zach Cleveland, you guys have seen the impact he's had on the court, and we're so looking forward to be able to get him back on game nights, and hopefully that's soon. He's got a unique ability to see the game. He can really pass. He can create. He's got a toughness about him. He's got athleticism with it, so he can move his feet and do things defensively. And then, Ben Sutherland and J.C. Schreier have been guys that are redshirted for us. And I've been really proud of them, because these are the dog days of the redshirt year. This is the longest probably you've ever gone in your life since you started playing basketball without it, like an actual game. You're coming in every day to work for practice. Plus you got to get extra work in to really make this redshirt year count. And they've approached it with a lot of toughness. And it takes toughness this time of year, because you don't have that carrot of a game on Thursday and Saturday. And sometimes it can kind of be, man, like, what am I doing this for? Or, man, can we just get to next year? Can we get to the spring so I'm eligible? And that, I think this time of year it's really easy to kind of forget about that this is a hard time for them to push through that wall. And the guys that do, man, they see a tremendous amount of growth their second year.
Coach, I know you guys track every shot, regardless of if it goes in or not. You track if it's a good shot or bad shot. I don't know how much of the trade secrets you're allowed to give away, but can you tell us a little bit about that process and kind of what goes into that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's that groundbreaking, Nick. Like, we want good shots. We want great shots. And that's different for each player. Like a great shot for Darius McGee might be different than Blake Preston. We really don't judge a possession by whether it goes in. Like, one of my favorite things ever is, and hopefully you'll see our bench do it. Like, we'll have a great possession, move the ball, get a wide open shot and miss it. And our bench is really excited, because like everything we've done, the work for years in the summer, putting up shots, the process of that possession, how we pursued the rim, how we passed the ball, all that stuff. If we've done all that right, once it leaves your hand, it's out of our control, man. Like, and I know what guys are going to shoot on shots. So like, all right, 40% from three is pretty good in basketball, right? Well, that means you're missing 6 out of 10. Like it's almost like baseball, a game of failure a little bit. So we're mindful of, what shots we're taking, what shots are good for us on a team and individual basis. And we really want to try to pursue those. And like I said earlier, we want guys to be great at what they're good at.
Yeah, I love that. Really cool insight. Really love the process of that. All right, I got 2 more questions for you. One from the comments. Really good question from Ray. DJ, outside of basketball, what is the one thing you love about being at Liberty?
The people, man. I remember during the interview process before I came here, Coach asked me, like, why would you come, or what would excite you about going to Liberty? And it's like, well, I've heard that you're kind of the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, and that really excites me about being here. And man, has that been for even more than I realized. It's a special place, and the people that I get to do life with every day, it's genuinely life changing.
All right, lad, I got 2 more questions because I got one, and then
I'm here.
John sent me one. I wanted to ask you about this because this is interesting to me. The new ASON format with 4 teams not getting into the tournament. What's your thoughts on that? Do you think that's going to create some weird end of season where teams are playing for a spot in the tournament, or maybe it's a little bit different? Have you guys thought about that at all?
Yeah, not really. It's not really that's gone into our planning.
I don't think it's going to bother you, but
well, there's so many things and tiebreakers and all this stuff that is beyond your control, and honestly, you just end up wasting energy thinking about it. So I mean, again, it's cliche, but like our hope is like to be present in the moment, and appreciative of it, and operate out of gratitude, and really pursue at a high level. It'll be interesting. It's a different format than we've ever had. Having that first round game at the 1 or 2 seed site is a little different touch. So, I don't know exactly how it'll go out. Like once you clear that, it's kind of a normal setup. So, our hope is we keep taking care of business, and hopefully we have a home game or 2 when tournament time comes.
That championship game is 3:00, and if you guys are fortunate enough to be there, does that bother you? A 3:00 game when all season long you're playing 7:00?
We get to play. Right. you get to play. It doesn't matter what time.
Yeah, championship doesn't matter.
Man, it doesn't matter. The team you're playing is playing at the same time. There's no advantage, disadvantage. I don't think our guys would care if it's 3 a.m. Like, let's go.
So you said something there, Coach, that I wasn't aware of, because I don't want to dog on the ASON, but they don't necessarily have the most information on their site about the tournament. So is the teams in the first round, they're playing like, so if Liberty was the number 1 seed, would the 9 and 10 play at Liberty, and then the winner would play at Liberty the next day?
That's correct.
Oh, wow. Okay. Breaking news on A Sea of Red Live.
Don't quote me on that, but that's my understanding of it.
Well, it makes sense. I didn't think they'd have a team travel from Florida in like 1 day, but the way of the site doesn't say anything about that. So that makes sense. That's kind of cool. I would love to go to that game, just like, a random, game in a tournament. It kind of has that old tournament feel.
Yeah.
All right. One last question for you. This is from our guy, John. What does Coach McKay mean to you?
Man, we probably don't have enough time for that tonight. He is being able to work with and for him is probably what everyone watching would expect. He is incredibly genuine. It's truly about the people first. He's really intentional about connecting with the people, and that's our staff, knowing our guys and all that. So to be able to have a relationship with that is incredible, and being able to see that firsthand, how he does that as a head coach, is really, really helpful for me. And I've grown so much being able to work with him, being able to watch him live firsthand. And man, he's impacting lives because he makes that a priority, and he's really competitive. And he's not going to do that at the expense of trying to grow young men. And we're blessed, and we're really blessed. And the fact that we get to do life with them every day, it's a direct representation of probably what you see many nights with our team.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for taking some time with us. This was awesome. We could have chatted with you all night, and best of luck this weekend. Big road trip for the Flames at Austin P and Lipscomb, and looking forward to seeing how the rest of the season plays out.
Yeah, man, really appreciate you guys. Like, you guys do so much for our program and how you support it, and like stuff like this. It's incredible. Like, I don't know of another school at our level that has something, maybe any level, that has something like this and how professionally it's done. So please know how much we appreciate how you support our program, how you help spread the word, and man, keep it going. We love what you're doing.
Well, we love the basketball team. We remember the days of being 330th in Ken Palm. So this is very easy to do right now.
We are blessed. God is good.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to have a quick word from Ironclad Coffee, and then me and Will will be right back with some more.
Virginia's best and most Flames-friendly coffee comes from Ironclad Coffee Roasters. Ironclad roasts and serves up their beautiful beans at 2 cafes in Richmond, but you can enjoy their crafted roasted specialty beans from anywhere in the country by visiting www.ironcladcoffee.com. Place your order there, and it'll be roasted to your order and shipped out directly to your doorstep.
Whenever you find yourself in the Commonwealth, pay them a visit at their 2 cafes in the Richmond area. Ironclad's owners, the O'Rourke family, are proud Flames Club members and are pleased to sponsor these podcasts by Sea Red. Hop on over to their website at www.ironcladcoffee.com now to get Virginia's best specialty coffee headed your way.